Hello and welcome back to EclipseClan. This week I am picking up after I've been gone for a little bit. As I said in last episode, I was away camping, which was absolutely amazing, but now I'm coming back and I'm not really sure where I left off on. So you all probably actually know better than me, so I appreciate your patience while I regain my bearings here. I know that we are going to be starting off with a time skip, and it looks like we do have quite a few cats that are sick or injured, or even possibly grieving here. And a lot of kits. So, without too much further ado, we are just going to jump right into it, and we're going to start off with a time skip. Okay, so we're starting off with some really sad news here. Hocus Pocus has died of green cough. Claw Splinter's clanmates make sure to spend extra time with them in the days since Hocus Pocus's death, sharing their fresh killing tongues. One night, Claw Splinter even finds extra moss lining their bed. Maybe they're not as alone as they always thought they were. As the vigil draws to a close, someone suggests Claw Splinter should eat. They refuse, not so much as shifting their vacant gaze. Shortburn looks at all the cats sitting vigil for Hocus Pocus and wonders how any of them will cope without Hocus Pocus in their lives. Shortburn keeps searching for tasks to do, cats that comfort distractions against the hole in their heart, as they fight to keep the grief from consuming them. As the clan sits vigil for Hocus Pocus, Sky Meadow wants to howl. How are they supposed to go through life without Hocus Pocus guiding them? Sky Meadow curls tightly in their nest once vigil comes to a close, throat raw from crying. Miserably, they dwell on how Hocus Pocus won't see another morning. Cougar Speckle wails when they see the body of Hocus Pocus still and cold in the clearing. They sit vigil that night as grief fills their heart. Cougar Speckle rubs her eyes wearily, gazing up into the vast sky. Perhaps Hocus Pocus has already found their way to StarClan, and they'll spot a new star in Silverpelt tonight. The past moon Hocus Pocus has taken their place in StarClan. Their loss is mourned, and will miss a spot that they took up in our lives. We definitely will. On the bright side, do have quite a few ceremonies to go through. Shortburn stands above the clan and proclaims that Birchpaw shall now be known as Birch Rip, honoring their spirit. As the clan cheers for the new warrior, Rosywood, Danger Dave purrs loudly. Their kit is finally a warrior. A new journey has begun for Rosywood, and Danger Dave knows that Rosywood's forethought will lead them through anything. Shortburn stands above the clan and proclaims Quiverpaw shall now be known as Quiver Moth, honoring their courage. Minkpaw sits beside their new mentor, Dust Tangle, as the meeting comes to a close. Their claws dig into the ground as they glare up at the sky, wondering why Hocus Pocus couldn't be there with them at such an important moment. Breezepaw tries to keep up a brave face as their apprentice a Quivermoth, but they keep stealing glances at the crowd as they're trying to find Hocus Pocus despite knowing they're no longer with them. Shypaw's reached age of 6 moons and has been made an apprentice. Rush Reed's running nose has finally stopped running. Hocus Pocus passes away. Sky Meadow's snakebite is healed, but they'll always carry evidence of the incident on their pelt. Sagrana feels more like themselves, their shock is gone, but they weren't looking where they were going and gained a few bruises tripping over her trunk. Clift Apple no longer has a running nose. Dust Tingle's cat bite is healed. Hot Flame has gotten a running nose. Rosy Paw's bruises have disappeared. And Shy Kit breathes a small sigh of relief as a deep throbbing in their head subsides. Jagged Acorn travels to Willow Clan to resolve some recent border disputes. The meeting goes better than expected, and Jagged Acorn returns with a plan to solve the issue for good. And Skunk Paw was seen chasing a rogue off the territory. Pretty major update there. Obviously, I'm sure Shortburn's not going to be okay with the loss of Hocus Pocus. She's still injured with a broken bone. Okay, so I'm gonna start off here before I even check in on the cats and see what happens with Shortburn's leadership. She's feeling really uncertain right now, and with the loss of her mate and main supporter of the medicine cats, She's probably feeling that especially so right now. So we'll see what's going on here. So nothing very much there. McAster and Quiverpaw, now Quivermoth, were discussing tensions around camp. So that's a pretty neutral trait. So we're not going to be modifying too much there. I'm going to go ahead, go through the cats here, go through their relationships, and we'll come back with an update. Okay, so just as an update on our cats here, this is Rosie Wood. She grew up to be quite a pretty cat, and definitely pretty close in appearance to Barleytooth. But there's definitely some distinctions there. So she turned out to be nervous, which is a neutral trait, but an unusually strong fighter, which could be very good for her. She was mentored by Danger Dave, who influenced her to be more likely to be friendly towards others, break rules that don't suit them, and use teeth and claws over words. Danger Dave helped her become better at fighting, and when they graduated, they were honored for their forethought, graduating at 12 moons old. Then we got Quivermoth, who is sparring with some clanmates right now. She's childish, but a renowned hunter. Again, mentored by Danger Dave, who influenced them to be more likely to interact with others, be consistent, and be ready for a fight. Danger Dave helped them become better at hunting, and they were honored for courage upon graduation. Okay. Childish is, however, a bad trait, so poor Quivermoth is going to be going on thin ice. And then Bertrip here. I actually graduated a bit early. Bertrip is also childish, which isn't good, but turned out to be a good hunter. Bertrip was mentored by Rain Creek, who influenced them to be more likely to follow rules, bicker with others, use words over teeth and claws, and adapt easily, and was honored for spirit. Okay, so here's Minkpaw. An adolescent male with silver eyes, ambitious and oddly observant. Freezepaw, adolescent male, somewhat eye-size, confident, avid play fighter, and oddly observant. Finally, we have Shypaw, who's practicing their newest moves. He is strict but quick to help. All of these kits are Claw Splinters kits, but she's hurt with a broken bone, and Shortburn's hurt with a broken bone. So I think we're going to go ahead and switch them all over to Sky Meadow, who I think Shortburn trusts a little bit more than her own daughter. And he's going to take charge of them. I know he's already got an apprentice, but I think that makes a bit more sense for us here. All set there. Nobody had any super relevant statuses. I am going to check relationships just to see how that's progressing though. Okay, so I think this is what's going to happen here. I believe that it was Dust Tingle that had completely run out of chances here. But because Shortburn was in such a bad position with all of her supporters sick or injured, she didn't do anything about it. Sky Meadow is now up, but with the loss of Hocus Pocus and Shortburn Claw Splinter still being down, they're probably feeling a little bit more uncertain. So Sky Meadow is going to approach Dust Tangle and apologize on behalf of Shortburn and say that all of the recent events has really put some things into perspective for her. And she'd like to give some cats some extra chances, so for right now, they're going to forgive Dust Tingle's inability to contribute to the clan, as Shortburn and Claw Splinter were not able to do much themselves. It's only fair after all. Dust Tingle lifts her tail hopefully at this news and goes over to talk to Shortburn directly to give her things. Dust Tingle, being a very compassionate cat, understands that Shortburn is probably just going through some tough things right now, Dust Tingle's loyalty, however, is unwavering, and she will never turn on Shortburn. She doesn't see Sky Meadow, whose apparently earnest act drops. As his tail drops and he starts to twitch back and forth, he glares after Dust Tingle's retreating back. It seems that Sky Meadow has another plan in motion. Whether or not this on behalf of Shortburn or himself, it's hard to say. But Shortburn accepts Dust Tingle's pleas of sympathy and vows to do better gracefully. So, Shortburn then calls the rest of the clan to order and states that for the duration of her broken bone, there will be no such thing as passes. She is going to forgive all of them their transgressions, and everybody will be free to come and go as they please. The clan is taken aback by this news, as this is a far cry from the deranged leader they had just seen. Some of them are more ready to accept her at face value than others, whereas other cats like Rush Reed are taking this with a bit more of a grain of salt. A cat like Shortburn doesn't change her mind very readily after all, but with the loss of Hocus Pocus, maybe a new leaf is turning. Some cats that are a bit more quick on the draw are quick to point out that Shortburn said for the duration of her broken bone, not that the system is getting rid of altogether. But for now, most of the cats breathe a sigh of relief, as they are going to be free to come and go on their patrols as they want. They can fail, they can get hurt, and it won't be counted against them. They can just do their best to be contributing members of the clan. If they can't do it, then that's okay. For now, at least. While helping gathering herbs, Mingpaw stumbles upon a bush of red berries. We're not going to proceed there, and this isn't going to count against anybody. Bertrip takes his siblings out on a training patrol. He is technically a warrior now. And since Ring Creek is not feeling super well, they will be going in their stead. But the apprentices have a dispute and look to Bertrip to settle it. And Bertrip does manage to successfully smooth it over. McAster, Cloverpelt, and Rosywood all successfully drive away a small dog. Danger Dave encounters a porcupine bristling with quills. Danger Dave is going to be the first to say that, despite his name, he does not want to proceed with such dangerous prey, and the rest of the cats are going to agree, steering clear of the porcupine. While out hunting, Flax Knight trips and falls into the creek. He's later discovered huddled under a bush, soaked to the skin and dangerously cold with a sprain. Our patrol catches the scent of a fox, and tracking it, we find a Saki gray fox feeding on a deer fawn. It's unlikely to have killed a fawn of this size. Gravel Arch shows their strength, leading the fight against the fox. By working together and keeping it distracted, the cats harry and harass the fox until Gravel Arch lands a crucial blow, snapping a tendon in one of the fox's hind legs. It runs. There's no way to live long with such a crippling injury. And then the medicine cat just gathered some Daisy. So, that's our first moon of patrols down. The cats all return, laden with prey, or with tales of their various successes, and all go to Shortburn to relay these notes, as well as to Sky Meadow, who's acting in her stead. Sky Meadow nods and praises every single one that comes by with any tales of success, and just says that they'll do better next time for the cats that admitted to failure. Even cats that normally would be forced to go on solo border patrols were allowed to go out together, and admitted as such openly. And Sky Meadow says yes, there is simply a safety in numbers. The clan hesitantly settles into this routine. After all, Sky Meadow seems to be very openly saying everything at face value, and there haven't seemed to be any repercussions in this initial patrol. Compared to last moon, this moon is a lot less interesting. Despite the enforced nest arrest and how tightly their broken bone is bound, Clawsplinter's injury is beginning to look concerning to Cougar Speckle. They begun to plan what to do if the infection progresses any further. Sag Runner is no longer bruised, and Ring Creek no longer has white cough. So, I think that it's a little telling that Clawsplinter is having some problems with her broken bone after the passing of Hocus Pocus. I feel that Hocus Pocus would have been most tending to Shortburn and Clawsplinter especially, and now that Rush Reed is a senior medicine cat, it's definitely a little suspicious that Clawsplinter could be encountering some problems now that Hocus Pocus is gone. Okay, same thing as before. I'm going to go through the cat's relationships and statuses, and I'll only be highlighting the very notable sections here, and we'll roll for our events for this moon for Shortburn. Okay, well this is a kind of fitting event to have happened. Shortburn pulls Gravel Arch aside. She whispers lies in her ears, and their relationship has improved. So, probably praising Gravel Arch for successes that she may or may not have actually had in Shortburn's eyes. But Gravel Arch eats up Shortburn's words and truly believes that she is contributing to the clan in the best way possible right now. Gravel Arch is a nervous cat and an unusually strong fighter, so she's a powerful ally to have, and getting reassurance whispered in her ear is probably paramount in keeping her spot safely within the clan. But I will use our mediators here accordingly. Cougar Speckle wants to get to know Sky Meadow better, possibly due to some of the recent changes and apparent change of heart that's been being exhibited by the deputy and leader. Ring Creek is wondering how Gravel Arch is doing. Despite feeling better in sickness, she is still grieving. Ring Creek is also a nervous cat, a great mediator, and natural intuition. So I feel like she probably understands that Gravel Arch was having some moments of doubt, and seeing her get specifically pulled aside by the leader, she's probably just wondering if Gravel Arch is okay and what's being said to her. I don't know that Gravel Arch is necessarily close enough to Ring Creek to share some of her fears, but I think that Ring Creek is concerned nonetheless. Yeah, they have some like for one another, but not a lot. Dandelion Paw had a very strange dream, but is all grown up. This is what they will look like healthy. And here's Birchroot, who is choking on their prey. Then we've got Shard Paw, who doesn't want to go and patrol Dandelion Paw, which I don't think you're going to, seeing as Dandelion Paw is hurt. A little bit more grown up, though. Mingpaw is begging to be made a warrior early. I mean, lines up with the ambitious trait, I suppose, but I don't think just one moon is going to be enough. Sky Meadow does pull the cats aside. Now that Leaf Bear is here, he simply warns the cats that it's going to be the most important thing to be there for one another right now. While they're in a sheltered grotto, the nights are long and dark and cold, and anything could happen to anybody on nights such as these. The clan does understand how devastating sudden snowstorms can be. Falling ice and snow are always treacherous, not to mention just slippery conditions that can come with that. So the cats take the warning very seriously. But some cats definitely get a sense of foreboding from some of the statements that Sky Meadow is making. Their cries, however, go mostly unheeded by the rest of their clan. Neither of our medicine cats really do anything very successfully, but it's Leaf Bear, so that's not entirely unexpected, I suppose. Pertrip and Charredpaw have a nice practice session together, though. Speaking of dangerous conditions, Sky Meadow takes out his entourage, and trailing behind the patrol, there's a mighty crash above Skunk Paw. They look around wildly just as the world is blotted out by a tangle of heavy falling branches. The patrol eventually manages to rescue Skunk Paw, but they need to be helped back to camp, battered and injured. Skunk Paw got head damage. Sky Meadow, upon arriving back at the camp and handing off the wounded apprentice, states simply to the rest of the clan that is present, and this is why you must be careful in the winter time, to which the clan nods in agreement. We find another fox on a carcass, and the patrol tries it, launching into battle, but Rosywood is caught with a nasty bite, and the cats give up on challenging for the food in favor of quickly helping Rosywood back to the medicine cat den. And once again, Danger Dave finds the porcupine, and we're not going to mess with the porcupine. The patrol hears a cat begging for their housefolk to come back, just barely legible over the sound of a monster speeding away. This patrol is going to approach the kitty pet at least. Winter time is a perfect time for new recruits, just in the sense that loners are going to be more desperate for anywhere to house them. But their efforts are in vain when they discover the cooling body of the kitty pet. It seems that they were hit by another car. Okay. Rain Creek sits in the crowd, chest puffed out in pride as they watch Charredpaw be named Shard Deer, in honor for their determination. They consider themselves lucky to have been able to train such an amazing young cat, and look forward to seeing the warrior they become. The infection in Claw Splinter's wound has abated. Clift Apple has gotten green cough. Blacksnake can walk and move without pain. Their sprain must have healed. Blacksnake fought a big dog but was barely even hurt. They're a bit bruised, but bruises are better than claw marks or bite marks. The Blacksnake did get yellow cough. Pomplane's running nose has healed, as has Dandelion Paw from their bite wound. Freezepaw and Shypaw both gotten white cough. The medicine cat apprentice from Mola Clan comes asking for our herbs. We refuse to say why the clan needs them. Our clan decides not to share our precious few blackberry. McAsser believes they are part of a new prophecy. Dust Single received a present of jade feathers from Pondflame and decided to keep it with them on their pelt. Barleytooth was seen touching noses with a kitty pet. Scandalous. Jagged Acorn misstepped and slipped from a rock, but landed on their feet nimbly, with their clanmates commenting on the show of dexterity. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we'll roll for this moon, and then we'll go into the cats. Okay, so for our random event for this moon, Flaxnight seems to commiserate with the plight of Resherid. So that makes sense. Flaxnight and Resherid are mates after all. But that seems that Resherid is drawing Flaxnight over to her side. Okay. Shortburn is considering driving out an opposing clan. Very interesting. Now with the event that we got, I'm going to go ahead. I'll mediate those two a bit better. There we go. Sega Runner is wondering how Dust Tingle is doing. So maybe he's sympathetic to what's going on with Dust Angle, maybe not. Condor Fern is spreading rumors about their clanmates. Condor Fern, I don't think hates anybody. She probably most dislikes Flax Knight, so that's probably her current target. Especially just given the conversations happening between Rusher and Flax Knight right now. But since she's a skilled mediator and a good storyteller, she probably likes to spread stories with kernels of truth in them, and then some lies to make the situation appear much worse than it actually was, leading to the clan being a bit more resentful of Flax Knight. Bertrip is wondering how Shortburn is doing. And Shardir, our newly made warrior, had a nightmare involving a rushing river nearby. He grew to be playful and a skilled mediator. Shardir was mentored by Rain Creek, who influenced them to be more likely to use words over teeth and claws, heed their inner compass, and have trouble adapting. Rain Creek helped them become better at resolving arguments, and when they graduated, they were honored for determination. Dandelion Paw is the last of the litter to get their warrior name, but I don't think they're going to be that far behind. Freeze Paw is feeling nervous about an upcoming assessment, and Shy Paw wants to get to know Sega Runner better. Sega Runner keeps popping up in a lot of these proms, and I know he is the most senior warrior, but I definitely think Sega Runner is playing a lot of different fields right now. As Sky Meadow and Condor Fern take their apprentices out, and Sky Meadow is setting the cats up to practice together, Runnelpaw and Mingpaw sit in the back, hiding their lashing tails as they plan their prank. Unfortunately, Sky Meadow sees their whispers and separates the two apprentices, preventing their plot. I think Sky Meadow learned from when Condor Fern did this herself. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Condor Fern put up her own apprentice to do this. Alright, since Dandelion Paw is technically an adult cat and Rain Creek is still not feeling well, I sent them out alone. They are tempted to eat the prey they just caught. After all, they're only practicing hunting, right? So this is theirs, it doesn't count as a true hunting patrol. They eat the prey without anyone noticing and return to camp, thrilled with their little transgression. Here's Dust Angle with the feathers, by the way. Okay, so we've had some successful patrols. On the border patrol, we poked a badger and no one got hurt. And we told stories to keep everybody entertained. And we caught a lot of prey. Morale seems to definitely be improving without the system of failure overhanging the cats' heads. But I think we'll go ahead and leave that off here for now. I thought long and hard about what to do with Shortburn's current situation. So I hope you all like where this ends up going. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that in-game events want to line up with that, but best laid plans of mice and men and all that, so I hope that you enjoy. Until then, stay safe and happy. I'll see you, and bye!